If psychological safety is the foundation on which an effectively diversified organization is built, then I believe that the key building block, the cornerstone, can be found in the old adage, a rising tide floats all boats. A workplace that creates opportunities for all of its people to contribute generates more opportunities for the business. And more opportunities for the business, in turn, creates more growth opportunities for the people in the business. And this is something that really landed with me back in 2001, when I was leading the bid effort on a $200 million construction project south of Sydney. 4 months of design and construction development, cost estimating, scheduling, and document preparation had led us to the final day of our bid period, where we needed to finalize, print, bind, and deliver our submission by 9 a.m. the next morning. Now, this is no minor hurdle, because we needed to produce 10 copies of a submission that consisted of 9 4-inch A4 binders and 250 A3 drawings. But we were confident we were up to the challenge, because even though our consortium consisted of 4 different companies and another half dozen key subcontractors, we'd come together brilliantly as a team. When our 80-person strong bid team gathered at 7 a.m. on that final morning, there was a real air of anticipation, a palpable sense of pride. Team Illawarra, that was the spontaneous catch cry at the end of our briefing. But as the day progressed, the size of the task became apparent. Day moved into evening, evening moved into night, and night into the early morning hours. At about 2:30 a.m., my wife, who was leading the bid production effort, came up and said, "Come with me," and dragged me to the cubicle of our one and only word processor, Robin. She said, "Jeff, Robin needs to go home. She's totally exhausted and she can't keep going." I looked at Robin, and the next 90 seconds rocked me to my core. She could barely lift her head to meet my gaze. Her eyes were so bloodshot with exhaustion, you'd have sworn that they were hemorrhaging. And we looked at each other for a moment, and she just said, "I'm sorry." And her eyes started to fill with tears. Well, I was mildly delirious at this point and wasn't quite sure how to react, and lamely patted her on the shoulder and said, it's okay, you've done a great job. Then Heather and I had a brief discussion about the logistics of making sure that she got home safely and covering our document processing needs. And then Heather helped Robin gather up her things and find a taxi home. Me? Well, I did the project manager thing. I went on to the next question or challenge that needed to be addressed to get our bid submission pulled together in time. And if I'm completely honest, in that moment, I didn't think very much of the exchange. I was sleep deprived, stressed, totally focused on an outcome. And yes, after an all-nighter, we did get our documents pulled together and submitted by the deadline. But it was early the next afternoon. I guess it was the same afternoon anyway. You know how after a big event or adventure, you replay these little micro moments in your mind? That was really funny. Wow, we were good there. Well, shit, we shouldn't have done that. It was in that sort of reverie that the image of Robin came flooding back, and the weight of that moment landed. Robin was a single mother whose 7-year-old daughter, Jade, was home with her grandmother while she worked into the wee hours of the morning. And as a word processor, she was the least paid person in the office that night. And yet she had worked herself to a state of complete exhaustion. But she hadn't gone to her immediate supervisor and said she was tired or needed to get home to her daughter. My wife had seen that her night was over when she went to check on something at her desk. And even then, Robin said, no, I'm fine, I'm okay, and would have continued had Heather not intervened. But it was something about those eyes, something about the way that she said, "I'm sorry." She didn't fear for her job or repercussions from having not finished out the night. She wasn't sorry because she was letting down me as her boss. She was sorry because she was leaving her contribution unfinished. She was sorry because she felt like she was letting down the team. She was sorry because she wouldn't be there at the end of the night to see the last box packed and shipped off to the client. And for that to be true, She had to recognize that her contribution had value, that it mattered, that she was part of a goal that we all pursued, that she was in fact an integral and important part of the team, that she mattered. It was in those 90 seconds in the early morning hours that I recognized the power of creating a workplace where everybody is given the opportunity to contribute and grow. It was when I saw that working environment through Robin's bloodshot, exhausted eyes instead of the eyes of a white male baby boomer that I recognized that you get the best from people when people are seen for their best, when they're asked to contribute their best. That's when those who wouldn't dare to aspire because they're too low in the hierarchy or too female or too black or too uneducated begin to aspire. It's when those that do have aspirations aspire to greater things. It's when those who will one day run the company see firsthand the power of creating a workplace where people are valued for their unique value. So what sort of workplace are you creating? Do you give the people in your team an opportunity to feel like they're part of something larger than themselves? That they're doing work that matters? Do you give them the opportunity to contribute their unique value so they can see that they matter? And what if you double down on that sort of workplace? What could you achieve? How much could your business matter to your clients, to your shareholders, and to the talent that you're looking to attract and retain? Until next time.